Daphne Caruana Galizia was a friend of mine. Her husband and mine share a legal office. We would sometimes meet, and although Daphne and I share the love of art and of all things beautiful, inevitably and unerringly the subject would turn to politics. On one occasion, I remember discussing with her how people, particularly editors of papers like the Horizont or Malta Today, could not understand why she or Boccia, who wrote the Ironbeck column in Times of Malta, kept on writing. They couldn't understand what kept them at it. What was in it for them? They looked for a motive, sometimes for self-gain. Financial, power hunger. They said Daphne was being paid by the Nationalist Party, that Boccia and Peter had bought property in London and Brussels to rent to the government, or some other such outrageous idea. It just couldn't be what it really was. A compulsion to tell the truth as one knows it, and to argue for justice when it wasn't available. They wrote. They just had to. After Daphne's horrific assassination, when we gathered, first at Castile and then as a group of like-minded women as Occupy Justice, people often asked us the same question. And indeed we often asked ourselves, why did we keep at it, when nothing seemed to be coming out of it, when it all seemed so futile? Because we just had to. As more people joined us for our monthly vigils in Valletta, and as we dutifully every day replaced the memorial to Daphne, those same couple of hundred or so people still came every month. Why did they come? I'm sure they asked themselves that same question as they put on their heavy coats and gloves on a cold winter's evening. I'm sure they were asked the same question by their family and friends. They just had to. The crowds at the protests grew as it became more and more apparent that what Daphne had written about for so many years was so correct and so right. Yet the institutions like the police, the Attorney General and the FIU did nothing. These large crowds of angry people too wondered whether going out shouting into the wet streets of Valletta was of any use. And yet they did. Something compelled them. They just had to. Being on the side of truth and yearning for justice is something built into most people's psyche. If not built in, with a half-decent upbringing, it is nurtured into them by parents and teachers. And we all, most of us anyway, try to instill it into our children. It is what civilization, as we know it, has been built on, but it might very well have come before it. It is far more powerful and unstoppable than those who seek to benefit from the lack of it would like us to think. If you're on the other side, it is very, very difficult to fight off. So difficult, in fact, that the only way they could stop Daphne was to kill her. Brutally. There are people like this, people with these same values, within the Labour Party. They too want to know and to be part of the truth. They too want to see justice done. These are not just words. It is what being an honest man or woman, citizen or party member is all about. They will, like us, want to protest angrily at the gross crimes that have been committed using their name. Like us, they too look to the day when all is out in the open and the criminals are named and shamed and put behind bars. And they will, because they just have to.